So recently, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, was asked whether he would call out the term "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which the vast majority of Jewish people feel is a call for genocide against the Jews. And London has been notoriously bad for having anti-Israel protests all over the capital on a regular basis, intimidating Jewish people, intimidating people on the streets, where they're calling for... There's been endless cases of anti-Semitism, but the elephant in the room is that the whole cause of the protest is anti-Semitic, when they are all chanting "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." I want to show you what Sadiq Khan says, and then I want to explain to you why this phrase is anti-Semitic, and I want to also show you how he is being deeply, deeply irresponsible by the way he won't basically say the truth about this phrase. Have a watch.
To ask a fairly straightforward question, is the chant "from the river to the sea" anti-Semitic?
It's all about context. The issue shouldn't be whether it's legal or not. The issue is how people feel. I've met too many Jewish Londoners who get quite distressed by that. So my point, respectfully, is look, it doesn't matter whether it's legal or not. The issue is how people are feeling.
I just think it would be really, really helpful in strengthening that relationship and overcoming that, that kind of feeling. And the polling from Campaign Against Anti-Semitism showing that a very large proportion of British Jews not being happy with your administration's performance on these issues since October the 7th. I think just to bridge that gap, it would be really helpful to come out clearly, unambiguously, calling out that chant for what it is. It is a call for genocide, and it needs to be stamped out.
I'm really happy all day long to compare my record on this matter with Reform's record on this matter.
So he's deflecting now.
I'm the person that believes in bringing communities together. Reform is a party that believes in winning votes by dividing communities. I believe that a sensible politician should try and bring people together, look at commonalities rather than looking at differences to win votes.
So basically deflects, fumbling over the answer, talking about other parties. I don't know, not sure what he's referring to in the Reform Party exactly when he says that they dabble in racism. But he, by not condemning the phrase "from the river to the sea" in the name of commonality, is irony upon ironies. You're saying that in the name of commonality, I'm not going to call out and condemn a phrase that calls for the wiping out of an entire people on the altar of commonality. Just to understand, "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" means the eradication of the state of Israel and having all the Arabs that were displaced when the Arab countries decided to go to war against Israel. It wasn't Israel came in and displaced them all. They wanted to annihilate the Jewish state, and they lost some people lost their homes in a attempted annihilation of the Jews. And so "for the river to the sea" means they all come back to where they were pre-war, and you have a dissolution of Zionism. And so you'd have a state which would be run by an Arab majority population, basically. It would no longer be a Jewish state. And we know there's widespread support for Hamas and what they did on October 7th, so for an Islamist kind of ideology. How would Jews fare under that system, I wonder? For 2,000 years, Jews didn't have a state. They were displaced from their state in this same plot of land 2,000 years ago. You've got the strongest connection of any people to a plot of land in history. But nevertheless, they fared worse under Islamic and Christian or Western governments. And we're seeing right now, literally days ago, tens of thousands of people slaughtered in Syria by radical Islamists. People who are minorities of Muslim groups or Christian groups. So you want to tell me that the Jews would be just fine? The Jews would be slaughtered, God forbid. That's part of the whole purpose of Zionism and self-determination. It doesn't justify it, by the way. The justification, of course, is that this is the Jewish people's homeland. But it happens to be that if you don't have a home and you've been persecuted throughout your history, it's very dangerous to suddenly lose that home. So calling for this kind of from the river to the sea, especially in light of October 7th, which is clearly sympathizing with or even justifying what Hamas did, how could any Jewish person not feel that this is supporting anti-Semitism and racism? So in what context would this be fine? So let's be clear. The fact that he says, I'm not going to call this out in the name of commonality, I think one of the big mistakes that's been made in the West is what the late Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks spoke about, which is that multiculturalism was a very, very dangerous idea. I'm saying this as a Jew, by the way, a Jew from the UK. The problem with multiculturalism is that it treats society, as Rabbi Sacks says, as a hotel rather than a home. And this is the error Sadiq Khan is making. To think that you can have a society in which there are so many clashes of values between different groups and segments, and just to pretend that things are all going to be hunky-dory and things will be completely fine. They won't be. Sadiq Khan is right to say we need commonality, but what does commonality mean? It means society is a home, and a home means we find areas in which we can all respect each other. From the river to the sea is pushing out the Jewish community from your society, making them feel unwelcome. So he's absolutely wrong here to say it depends on context, and he is not showing leadership. And it's shameful that he tries to deflect rather than deal with this head on. It's a very awkward and inconvenient truth that actually what they're calling for on these rallies is genocidal in nature. But until he acknowledges that fact, the Jewish community in the UK are going to feel sidelined and threatened. You should know, by the way, in other countries, I think it was Germany or Austria, they've banned this chant. So, and they've also cracked down on a lot of these protests because they're inciting violence and hatred. So it can be done. One just needs the strength and clarity to make it happen. Will Sadiq Khan do that? I doubt it.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.